What's going down, kids? Welcome back to Grand Prix World and a happy midweek to everybody. We are going to be running rounds 4 and probably 5 of the 2004 season. Currently, we sit in the top of the pile with Pedro Diniz and Giancarlo Fisichella. Pedro Diniz leading the Drivers' Championship. We're also pretty well clear at the top of the Constructors' Championship. We have noticed some problems, though. Minor, relatively minor. Firstly, we noticed there was a deficiency in our 2004 chassis. It's still capable of winning races and has. Now, we got a comment last time out, and I'm really sorry I forget your name. I'm all over the place recently, but we did get a comment suggesting it was because of the skill of our chief designer. I can see why it would appear that way, and I totally understand why you've come to that conclusion, but that isn't the entire story. As we discussed in one of the early episodes, your department chiefs are kind of like a multiplier. So the base ability of the team to develop a chassis comes from the staff. And you see we've got different skill levels of staff here and different numbers of them and different star ratings and so on. This is the base power. Let's call it economic power. That's the base power. Your department head is then kind of like a multiplier to the skill set that's already here. The other factor, of course, is how much time you spend developing the car. Because as we've discussed as well, these bars, I can click that button now and finish this stage now, 2 bars short of a full bigger bar. But doing that has a negative effect on the outcome. So the reason I was surprised, and when I say I was surprised, it was more that it caught me off guard a little bit, but I knew it was possible. You can have great staff, a great chief designer, and put all the time you want into designing a car, and sometimes you just design a bad car. We haven't fallen into that trap. Our car isn't terrible, it's just not as good as it should be. So far, though, for this season, we've made all the right moves in all the right places because the 2005 car is already nearly through the first stage of design, and we're able to confirm now that it conforms with the 2005 regulations, which means we've lost no time, we have only gained, and that is how you breed a thoroughbred winner. We can leave the CFD simulation phase and move on to the model stage for the new front wing. Looking forward to getting that out on track. Last time out we also completed signing all the department heads that we needed to replace. We're in a pretty good position, all things told. All our departments are full and the drivers are relatively happy. Well, very happy, but relatively skilled is what I meant to say. We do have a contract up at the end of next season, which is one Giancarlo Fisichella. Also, Carl Eisen has his contract come up as well. Pedro Diniz has another year to run on his, and so far it seems that we won't need to bin him off. He's gained a little bit during the course of this season. Those of you who perhaps are a little bit more observant than even I am with my own game will notice that now Diniz and Giancarlo Fisichella are almost perfectly matched, which was not the case last year. I think he's gained in speed. I think maybe overtaking as well. I know wet weather and concentration were full for both drivers. I think Fisichella still leads by 1, maybe 2 points, but they are very, very evenly matched. And on paper, Diniz is about 14 million cheaper than Giancarlo Fisichella. So we've got it all to play for in terms of our number 1 driver slot. I think at the moment it may make particularly good sense to retain Fisichella unless his wage demands go up significantly again, because they're quite a good pairing and it seems to be working out for us. However, people who are available will be Eddie Irvine, John Fellows, Tora Takagi, Jörg Muller, Johnny Newhouse. Yeah, unless we went after Newhouse, which I don't think we will given how much money he costs. Irvine's the only realistic alternative, and I'm not really convinced that would be a good move. it would basically involve us doubling Fisichella's pay. So no. Yeah, it looks like Fisichella's seat in the team is already at this very early stage guaranteed by virtue of being the only decent driver with a reasonable wage demand that's available. So no wonder he's smiley in his picture. Let's just get through all the usual technology guff. Hopefully we've got a new driver aid to deploy this episode as well. That would be good. No, not quite. Get in there though. Get in there. Let's do the test program. How about that? So I'm going to reduce... I'm going to reduce the Forschung testing. I think that's pretty clear. And we will focus on tyres, I guess. We'll run the full distance again. 612,000 is a lot of cash, but you know, we're not going to get any medals by holding off when we've got money in the bank. I know we're still saving for a factory upgrade, but I'm not going to let that hold us back too much from developing a car that's going to do the business. Okay, engine first. We've got 4 points to spend. I'm going to boost the rigidity just because putting any extra power or reducing the weight can have an effect there. We've got Monaco coming up, so I might put a point into responsiveness and a point into reliability. Yeah, I think that looks good. If we can lighten the engine as well, that will be great too. Tyres. We've received a new specification of hard compound, which gives us a better starting point, but it's not pretty. Intermediate tyres are holding up reasonably. I don't know, maybe it's worth just running the... Yeah, I'm gonna boost the inters while we've got a moment. Let's go for that. There we go. And I don't really have to worry about them now. I mean, if we end up with a little bit of capacity towards the latter stage of the season, I can always fill those 3 bars in, but I don't think it's going to make a world of difference. Over to race fuels, going to play the same old game. That's all that sorted, done and dusted. We've got some Forschung points to drop, so I'm going to do that as well. Boom. See if that's finished off anything. Oh, it finished off the driver aid. Sweet. No, it's not been approved. That's okay though. We can live with that. On the technology front, what we're going to improve, I think I'm going to improve the reliability of our electronic system, simply because that's the only 3-bar reliability we have at the moment, and then I'll begin focusing again on performance to make sure we get the most out of what we've put together. Right, let's repair some cars and we can go a-racing. We've signed a works deal for tyres next season with Goodyear. We've chosen to keep with them, even though this season they aren't necessarily the better of the 2 manufacturers to be with. They do at least seem more open to offering us a multi-year deal, and we've discussed at length how that benefits the team. While I'm building spare parts, we can also have a discussion about why perhaps we're not getting multi-year deals on the cash sponsors. There's never really a clear-cut answer as to why things fall the way they do. There is an element of chance involved, but it is a problem. It is a problem. The instinct is to chase the biggest paying sponsors, and that's what we're doing so far, because that is just good business sense. The downside is that they're obviously a little bit less likely to give you a multi-year deal, so what I'm going to do is begin courting some of the level 4 sponsors in the hope that they might be a little bit more forthcoming. Now, it could be someone like HSBC or Petronas are willing to step up with a 2-season deal. If I had to have laid money on it at the start of the season, I would have said PIAA might have offered us a 2 or even 3-season deal, given that we've got quite a lengthy relationship. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately. Still, progress is moving along quite nicely. We have Apparently we need to negotiate for fuel. I was pretty sure we had a deal in place. I guess we didn't. Okay, we better get to work on that then. I think we'll stick with mobile. Mobile was good for us. What I'll do is I will drop off some people from... I'll drop the TV advantage on the Castrol deal, drop them down to 10%, and I'll drop another 10% off this 2-season works deal here, and put that 25% onto Mobile 1. And I will also drop PIAA out of here, and bring Mobile along to San Marino. I think that sounds like a pretty solid plan. Good job we noticed that, to be honest. So we do have a little bit more to negotiate than I thought. It was only the engine and the team sponsor that was pre-negotiated. Right, never mind. We solved that problem as soon as we saw it, so that's good. Everything's ordered, everything's in place. We're looking at 6 million to upgrade the factory, or $461,538 per Grand Prix if we ordered it now. I'm not so sure. I'm still not so sure. We're close to that tipping point. We really are. We're on the verge. But if I could just pay for it in cash at the end of the season, that to me is a much more preferable solution rather than trying to balance our income and expenditure over the course of the season. We're dropping a hell of a lot of money into the test program, and what we drop into the test program outstrips the cost of the factory. So if we can get to the stage where all we need to do is test for setup, then our testing expenditure goes down massively straight away, and we can redirect some of that money to offset the increased per GP cost for upgrading the factory, and maybe get it done at the end of the season. It's still my aim to get up to level 4 as soon as possible. I'm not going to drop 12 million, that much is certain. I could take a loan, but I'm always reluctant to do it because in this game your liquidity is especially liquid. Alright, that's all that sorted. Let's set up the car. I'm going to do this for Fisichella. For Deniz, we're going to take a slightly different tack. Nice. We're on the Evo 4 forward power units now, Evolution 3 race fuels, and Evo 3 full wet tyres, which I imagine we don't actually need for this round, but they're there if we, for any reason, do find ourselves in need of them. I'd rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them, if that makes sense. We're still looking for servo brakes on the Benetton. I don't think we're going to find anything there, so why don't we move over to Jordan and see if they're running... Yeah, servo brakes I think we'll look for. On race observation, I think we'll look at Ferrari, just see if we learn anything particularly interesting there. Let's go a-racing. Oh, apparently I didn't confirm the car setup. Pretty sure I did, but... yeah, looking good. 26 degrees and dry, so not necessarily playing to our strengths there, but you never know. Let's see what we get. Okay, Deniz outperforming Fisichella again, by about half a second, actually. That's a hell of a gap, actually, between 4th and 5th. Anyway, let's do this properly. Michael Schumacher takes pole for Jordan. He's on a hell of a run with that team. On a 125.994, ahead of Alexander Wutz's Ferrari on a 126.181. Ferrari are definitely on the up and up, taking 2nd and 3rd. Moriera lining up behind his teammate on a 126.256. Just behind them is Pedro Diniz on a 126.287. 5th goes to David Coulthard in the Benetton, 126.603. Juan Pablo Montoya in the 2nd Jordan lines up 6th, 126.635, and Fisichella takes 7th on a 126.638. Top 10's rounded off by Shinji Nakano's Benetton, Johnny Newhouse's McLaren, and Toru Takagi's Minardi. Weird, very weird that McLaren and Williams have both gone backwards. I thought it was a wet weather issue, but apparently not. Something isn't right. I don't know if Jordan or Ferrari have maybe received some update that's got their car working better. That could be a new compound of tyre. Maybe they've developed something if they've got a work steel. But yeah, Ferrari in particular seem to have taken a step forward. And certainly on qualifying trim, they are faster than us. With Jordan, I think we're kind of evenly matched, to be honest, and it's purely the talent of Michael Schumacher that's hauling them above us. Benetton maybe are nipping at our heels, but it really does seem on outright technology, Ferrari is our closest rival recently, and Jordan by virtue of Schumacher. That's very interesting. Sad for Williams that they're slipping back after making some serious gains. Sauber, it's hard to read with them, isn't it, really? They were down there and now they're sort of creeping back up, but they're still not troubling the top 10 right now, save for last time out. Tyrrell and Prost are still the biggest losers at the party. Stewart are in the mix there as well. Things are starting to settle out now. We're not seeing quite so much variation on a race per race basis than we did between rounds 1 and 2. But nah, still very hard to call. The only thing I'm sure of is that Ferrari are technologically superior and Jordan are capable of bringing the fight to us. Still, race pace is where our strength usually lies, so let's see how that works out for us. I'll do the usual, fresh boots for every stage. I'd be tempted to try one-stopping Deniz, but I just don't think it's worth the risk. Let's do it. Well, another round and another win for Pedro Deniz, a 1:35.28.836. That's a hell of a dominant win. He's about 30 seconds down the road from Alexander Wurz, who started second and finished second in the Ferrari. Michael Schumacher rounds off the podium on a 1:36.24970. Mika Hakkinen takes fourth for McLaren with a bit of a recovery drive there. Eddie Irvine's Williams takes fifth, and the final points paying position goes to Johnny Newhouse's McLaren. McLaren seem to be in the same ballpark as us in the sense that they qualified poorly but drive very well in the races. Ferrari and Jordan seem to have held up well between the transition from qualifying to race, but still, I think over a race distance we're still the kings of the hill. Giancarlo Fisichella we lost to an engine failure. Not quite as much attrition as we've seen in the last few races, but still relatively high, with 9 drivers failing to finish. Sorry, 10? Let me learn to count. Yeah, 10 drivers failing to finish. Anything particularly noteworthy there? Double failure to finish for Benetton, although for different reasons. David Coulthard losing out to a brake failure and Shinji Nakano having hydraulic problems. Brake failure also plagued Jarno Trulli's Tyrrell. No other double non-finishes that I can see. So there was nothing there that's like we've seen in the last round or two. If a team loses both cars to the same failure, then you can generally put that down to some serious deficiency in the car in a certain area that needs to be addressed. But not seeing any sign of that here. Pleased to walk away with a win. Not so pleased to have Fisichella DNF again. At least it wasn't an accident. In the Drivers' Championship, Pedro Diniz has more than doubled the points tally of Alexander Wurz to hold on to top position. Michael Schumacher is now joint third with Fisichella, both on 14 points, ahead of Eddie Irvine. In the Constructors' Championship, we've extended our lead to 31 points, ahead of Ferrari, who sits second on 19. Jordan line up third on 18 points. Williams and McLaren tie for fourth with 7 points, followed up by Sauber with 3 points. Very interesting indeed. Let's see if we've made any progress on any of these deals. Yes, we have. Castrol signed. That's pleasing to me. Danker have also signed. I'm going to leave 5% on that Danker deal, I think. That PIAA. PIAA also signed. That's awesome. That is awesome news. I'm going to go after Canal Plus. and Patronus, and we'll see what we get from those bods. We're still working on tyre bonuses, but you know, we're on schedule there. I'm going to drop the success advantage on Mobile 1 to give that deal a much needed kickstart to make sure we don't have it poached from us. I'm going to drop Danker from proceedings here, and we will bring Play Life out to play. I'll also drop Goodyear for a round and bring Ford just to make sure we keep up good relations there. Nothing else to worry about in Sponsor Town. Let's see. Technology is done, so we will put a performance boost onto hydraulics. Nice. I need to hire a wind tunnel. Excellent. And now we can move to the wind tunnel development stage on the B-Spec car. We're now ready to move on to the CFD simulation phase of next season's car, so progress on that front is going very, very well. Nothing much to worry about now. All we've got to do is focus on making the best of what's available to us. Money is rolling in quite nicely, so I think we're going to be able to get away with upgrading our factory relatively soon, in time for next season. Testing. We need to do testing. I'm going to keep things as they are. What's the cost? A little bit cheaper, still around the $500,000 mark, but you know, you gotta speculate to accumulate points. I'm going to drop these points onto... I'm going to drop these onto the hard compound tyre. Still not ready for use, but we're moving in the right direction. Same as ever on the race fuels. Nearly done with testing there. And on the engine we're almost done as well, actually. I'm going to put a point into weight, reduction, power, reliability and responsiveness in time for Monaco. Nice. That engine is really coming along nicely. It took a little bit more work than the old Ferrari units used to. But I still think we made the right decision given that we got a 2-year deal out of it, and maybe we'll be able to get an extension on that lasts 2 to 3 seasons. It would be good to tie up a long-term supplier contract sooner or later, because that really is the bread and butter of running a successful team, really, minimising the amount of work you have to do season on season. No one likes doing more than is necessary. Repairs. That's the next job. I tell you what I'm going to do. I might switch Fisichella to car 3. Call it superstition. It's just 3 seasons throughout this playthrough now. We've had a problem with car 1 DNFing repeatedly until we switched it to a different chassis. And I don't want to drop $500,000 building a 4th car unnecessarily. Actually, do we have 4 cars? We should. Yes, we do. Yeah, I'm going to switch them around. I thought, when I said that I should already have a 4th car for research and development purposes, and if I hadn't built one, I was going to facepalm so hard you would hear it down the microphone. But I'm not as stupid as I look, sound, or occasionally behave. So that is a win for all of us as well. Today's a good day for us. Okay, cars are repaired. Let's check the news really quick. See if anything interesting has come up. Oh, Andrea Montemini will be driving for McLaren. That's a desperation move if ever I've heard one. Toru Takagi has bought a seat at Benetton, so he'll be staying there. Oh no, it's Nakano who's at Benetton at the moment, so I wonder if that's Coulthard leaving or Nakano. Ferrari will be sponsored by Komatsu, PlayStation will be sponsoring McLaren, and Carl Gaden is in talks with Prost. So no major news coming out at the moment. Some of the teams are being quite slow at picking off important signings. In the driver market, there's not really much to play with actually, as we've seen when we were reviewing potential replacements for Fisichella. It's not really a driver's market right now. How to set up for Spain? I'm going to go for this. I think I'll do the same for Fisichella as well. Make sure both drivers have got the latest tech on their car. Hopefully Fisico pulls it together and manages to finish a race. Again, not blaming him outright. I know engine failure happens to the best of them. And even though we're nearly at full reliability with the power unit, that's still only a theoretical concept to a certain degree. And even if you've got a full reliability bar, the car will still occasionally fail. So I try not to hold it against him too much, but we saw last year the problem where... Let's complain about those. We saw last year the problem of having only one driver deliver points. That there's an attrition element where if a team, in this case it most likely to be Ferrari or Jordan, continually pick up double podiums, they can eat into your lead. And maybe they won't win the Drivers' Championship, but as a team owner, all we care about at all is the Constructors' Championship. The Drivers' Championship is an icing on the cake bonus. Other than that, Constructors all the way. So, that's all set up. You might be wondering why I don't turn down the aggressiveness of Fisichella. The reason I'm not doing that is because Diniz is driving with the same level of aggressiveness, and Fisichella's a more skilled driver. So, clearly the issue is not outright with the car. If they're both pushing to the same degree, and Fisichella is a stronger driver capable of pushing more, if pushing was causing the car to fail, they should both be DNFing. To me, that's just logical. If things were the other way around, would I reduce Diniz? Yes, probably I would, actually. But as it stands, I see no reason why he should be taking his foot off the gas at all, especially if he wants to retain his championship, which I'm sure he does. Let's go to Spain. 24 degrees and dry, so again, I'm expecting a weak qualifying. But, again, I don't like to call it. I don't like to call it so early in the season. Let's see. Yeah, weak qualifying. Michael Schumacher taking pole there for Jordan on 1:23.86. Alexander Wurz is the highest running Goodyear team driver on a 1:25.03 in his Ferrari. Juan Pablo Montoya's Jordan lines up third on a 1:25.43. Pretty tight gap there between Wurz and Montoya. David Coulthard takes fourth for Benetton. Celso Moreira is fifth for Ferrari. Fisichella outqualifies Diniz this time to take sixth. Shinji Nakano splits the arrows for seventh in his Benetton. Pedro Diniz takes 8th, Toru Takagi's Minardi lines up 9th, and Johnny Newhouse breaks the top 10 for McLaren. McLaren and Williams still suffering a little bit in qualifying. I think we need our B-spec, to be honest with you. I really do feel like we need the B-spec. Prost still propping up the pile. Tyrrell and Stewart are fighting it out for second of the losers. Can't even win the loser competition, can you? That sucks. Minardi, I kind of see yo-yoing a little bit, but given who the drivers are this season, I suppose I'm not doing too badly. Let's move on to the race. I'm going to do the usual. Fresh boots, slightly reduced fuel load, and hope that the fuel economy works out. Come on, boys. Whoa, we got another win. Who got this one? Pedro Diniz again takes the win. 1:35.57. Again, 30 seconds down the road from the car that finished second, Michael Schumacher. Puts his Jordan second on a 136.27132. Amazeballs drive for Toru Takagi to put Minardi on the podium of all things. A 136.52713 for him. That is a hell of a drive. He's brought about 7 million into that team, and he's just boosted that amount, almost guaranteed, by putting points on the board for them. Benetton take a double finish for 4th and 5th, and the final points paying position goes to Juan Pablo Montoya's Jordan for 6th. Sosa Moriera finishes just outside the points on paper, but in reality he was a lap down. A lot of non-finishes again, and Fisichella, despite switching to car number 3, has had an accident and binned it. So no points for him. Pedro Diniz extends his lead to 26 points ahead of Michael Schumacher. Alexander Wurz is still 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, and Fisichella languishes in 4th on 14 points. It's not an insurmountable gap, but the chances of him retaining his title are slipping away somewhat. He's on a Lewis Hamilton sort of season. In the Constructors' Championship, we have continued to extend our lead. Arrows now sit on 60 points in 1st position, ahead of Jordan in 2nd on 25, and Ferrari are 3rd on 19 points. Minardi leapfrogs Sauber to take 7th place in the Constructors' Championship with 4 points, which is 4 more than anybody expected they would get. Well done indeed. Okay guys, I'm going to have to shoot off, but thank you so very much for joining me. I hope you're still enjoying the playthrough. I welcome all your comments and feedback. Also, Mr. Powell, if you're watching this and you haven't yet seen the announcement that you won the Stellaris competition, congratulations, you won the Stellaris competition, and we need you to get in touch so that we can give you your copy of the game. For everyone else who entered, thanks very much for entering. Sorry you didn't win this time, but I am planning a whole bunch of giveaways now because the effect they have on channel viewership and the subscriber count has been just excellent. Far better than we dared imagine. So there will definitely be more giveaways coming, and your chances of winning something are going to be fairly reasonable given how small the community is over on this channel at the moment. So don't be too disheartened. Anyway, Mr. Powell, shoot me an email at definitely0@gmail.com and we can exchange the details. We can make the drop, as it were, and you can be enjoying a copy of Stellaris courtesy of Corin. To the rest of you, have a great rest of the week. I will talk to you in a day or two. You guys take care. Bye-bye.